Hi, welcome back to the channel. Go back in time. It's 1968. The summer of love has already faded. The Beatles are meditating in India. Hendrix is shredding and melting people's faces off. And the Zombies release an album that was a psych-pop masterpiece, and people ignored it. Let's talk about it. When the British invasion first hit, a band called the Zombies came from St. Albans in the UK. They had hits with She's Not There and Tell Her No. And the band consisted of Rod Argent, the leader of the band. He was also the keyboardist and co-wrote a lot of the songs. Colin Blunstone, the lead singer, with a smoky, breathy, dreamy voice. Chris White was the bass player, and he, along with Rod Argent, wrote most of the band's hits. Paul Atkinson was the guitar player, and after the band broke up, he became a record executive. Hugh Grundy was on drums. He kept everything afloat. In 1968, the Zombies went into Abbey Road Studios to record Odessey and Oracle, and the band was on its last legs. It was a situation of, we've got to have another hit or let's just break up. They recorded this album. The record company almost took a pass on it. It was a total bomb when it came out. So the band broke up. In 1969, a man named Al Kooper, who was a sort of rock and roll Forrest Gump, he played with everyone, knew everyone, discovered everyone, was working for CBS Records. And he heard a copy of Odessey and Oracle and was particularly struck with Time of the Season. So he convinced CBS Records to release the record in the States. And Time of the Season became a huge hit. Great for the Zombies, right? Not so much. They were already broken up. Rod Argent and Chris White had already formed the band Argent, who ended up having a big hit with Hold Your Head Up. That was all over the radio in the early 70s. Colin Blunstone went to work in an insurance company as a clerk. So the album was released in 1968, and it was met with resounding silence. No chart success, no critical raves, no band to promote it, because again, they had already broken up. Even the label, CBS, said, good luck. But then, a year later, comes Al Kooper, who was working in A&R for CBS Records in the US. He heard a copy of Odessey and Oracle while he was in London, and he convinced CBS US to release the album. In 1969, radio DJs finally discovered Time of the Season. And guess what? People loved it. The breathy vocals, the call-in response, and that sensual line, "Who's your daddy?" before that phrase got completely ruined. And the single became a massive hit in the US. And suddenly, Odessey and Oracle wasn't a flop. It was a lost treasure. You may notice that in the title of the record, Odessey is misspelled. That is the fault of the artist that did the cover. Apparently, he didn't know how to spell Odessey correctly. They didn't get back together right away. Argent, of course, was very popular then, and the other guys were doing other things. But since the album was resurrected, and Time of the Season is a timeless record, you've heard it on loads of things, in movies and in commercials, just everywhere. It's a gorgeous song. And this album has been praised by Paul Weller of The Jam and also the Foo Fighters. Also, Belle and Sebastian and other alternative rock groups with a dreamy edge. Odessey and Oracle is now considered one of the greatest albums of the 60s, and in fact, one of the greatest rock and roll albums. Rolling Stone eventually noticed it. Mojo magazine raved over it, and Pitchfork probably gave it a 9.4 with loads of adjectives. So what were the zombies doing in 1969 when Time of the Season blew up? None of them were touring. None of them were basking in the glow of success. They were just gone, like ghosts or zombies. Odessey and Oracle is the musical equivalent of that weird kid in high school who got voted most likely to be forgotten and then came back 10 years later at the class reunion as a millionaire artist with a critically acclaimed documentary. It was misunderstood, mistimed, and misnamed, yet it still managed to become immortal. If you haven't heard the whole thing front to back, do yourself a favor, light a candle, put on some headphones, and let the mellotron wash over you like a very polite acid trip. What's your favorite track from Odessey and Oracle? Drop it in the comments, and if you choose Butcher's Tale, you win bonus points for emotional damage. If you enjoyed this content, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. When it's time of the season